Hi, I'm Graham.
And I'm Tracy, and together we're the Flying Finneys. We are a 50-something couple on our way to get to 60 countries by the time we turn 60.
We've just been in country number 19, Jordan, and I think that we've had some different experiences in Jordan.
This is going to be a really fun video, and we saw some incredible things and had some incredible experiences.
Now, one of the reasons why we wanted to go to Jordan was because we were almost getting booted out of the Schengen zone.
Yeah, Jordan wasn't originally on our list of places to go to this year. Our next stop was supposed to be Italy, but we realised we had a bit of a Schengen issue. So we looked for where we could divert to really quickly and easily, and Jordan was it.
Now, it might be an interesting choice at the moment. Jordan is very, very close to Israel. In fact, at some points we were about 500 metres away from the border. But to be honest, I felt extremely safe despite all of the regional tensions, and as it turned out, Jordan at the moment is a pretty good place to travel, particularly if you want to skip the crowds.
Yeah, I felt really safe the whole time we were there, and Jordan is really suffering as a result of the conflict in Israel and Palestine. So if you want to go to Jordan, now is the time to do it. I know it seems crazy to be heading into the Middle East given everything that's going on, but we were perfectly safe. We were so welcomed by everybody, and we got some fantastic bargains in terms of hotels, and there's literally nobody there. So you can see all those incredible sights virtually on your own. Fantastic experience.
So in this video, we're going to take you through the 8 days that we spent in total in Jordan. We'll take you to all of the key sites that we really enjoyed, and also give you a little bit of an insight into some places that may not necessarily be on your Jordan bucket list, but were certainly really worthwhile.
And we're going to convince you that now is the time to go to Jordan. Our first stop in Jordan, apart from an overnight stay in Amman, was in Petra, and this was the absolute highlight of the week for me. It is everything that you expect and more. It is mind-blowingly beautiful and stunning, and just without words. There's not enough superlatives to describe it, really.
What are your thoughts, Trace?
It's so epic. The scale and detail in there is hard to describe, but I'm very happy to be here.
We spent 2 nights in Petra. We had to rejig our travel a little bit because we realised that there is actually an event there that is only held on certain nights of the week called Petra by Night, and it was a great introduction to the whole site of Petra.
Yeah, that was a great decision to change the order in which we were seeing things in Jordan, because Petra by Night was definitely worth seeing.
So having enjoyed Petra by night, we got up really early the following day because we had heard that there were lots of crowds that would attend Petra first thing in the morning, hoping to get that magical Instagram shot of the treasury without too many people around. As it turned out, our fears were a little bit misplaced.
There was nobody there. It was really just us and a couple of other people. Even later in the day, there were very few people, and that's what we're saying. If you want to go to Jordan, go now. We're going to put up some footage of what Petra and Jordan has looked like in the past, and we just had the most fantastic experiences because of the lack of crowds there.
In many ways, we were almost alone in every single area that we visited in and around Petra, whether that was the treasury, the colonnade, or even up in the monastery. A tip for people going to Jordan and Petra in particular is around a thing called the Jordan Pass. Now, the Jordan Pass is something that you need to purchase before you come to Jordan, and it essentially covers the cost of your visa as well as entry into a whole range of attractions around Jordan.
It absolutely makes sense to get the Jordan Pass because the cost of the pass is essentially the same as the cost of your visa, and you get all these added attractions in as part of that pass. So I think it's about 40 attractions that it includes, including Petra, which is probably the big cost, but it includes a whole bunch of museums. I think we got into JERASH as well, part of that, so we used it a lot. There's a fair bit of walking involved at Petra. You walk into the treasury, that's probably about a 2-kilometre walk in. That's a nice gentle walk through kind of these canyons, which is incredible. And then there's a walk down through the rest of the main city part of Petra. Quite easy going, anyone can do that. And then there's the not so easy part, which is the walk up to the monastery.
This is most probably where going to Petra early in the morning was a real advantage. The weather was fairly kind to us whilst we were in Jordan, but it was still hot. And being able to take that early morning time to climb up to the top of the monastery, which is around about 1,300 steps. 1,000
to 1,300 steps, and not small steps, quite big, uneven, steps for these short legs anyway.
Again, when we got to the top, there were very few people around. There were a couple of cafes and a couple of vantage points where you could look down on the monastery building itself and stare out into Palestine, into the occupied territories.
You can take a mule/donkey/horse, and there's lots of people that will offer you a ride. It's not for us. A few people were doing it. It was tempting when I saw the way the steps went up the hill. But we did actually see, at one point, the mules being treated not kindly, which was a bit upsetting, but it's up to you.
The next major leg for us was a drive from Petra to Aqaba. Now, the driving in Jordan is a little bit interesting.
We did rent a car for the week that we were there because it was the easiest and quickest and probably cheapest way to get around, actually. The car hire was inexpensive. It's one of those countries where I'm sure there are road rules, but they're pretty fluid, Lanes don't mean much. People are merging in and out of lanes, and it was fine. We were safe, but just be cautious. Be aware that not everybody drives the same as you would necessarily in your home country.
The good thing though is that the place is really well signposted, so for those that do wish to do it yourself, it is pretty easy, along with Google Maps, to get around to all of the major areas that you want to get to.
Yeah, and the roads were really good quality as well, I have to say. There was no problem with the quality of the roads, so yeah, give it a try. It was fun. Yeah, Wadi Rum was on our list of things to do. But I did get a little bit unwell while we were there, so we decided that it wasn't a good idea to go into the middle of the desert with my tummy bug.
Instead, we decided to go and check into a lovely hotel in Aqaba, which provided unbelievable views across the Red Sea and great access to do a little bit of snorkeling in and around all of the coral reefs at the Red Sea. The water in the Red Sea is absolutely pristine. The reefs themselves fringe along the edge of the bay, and it's a really nice snorkeling experience. And the Jordanian government has sought to sink a whole lot of wrecks, including a whole lot of military wrecks, along the coast to try to get people in and diving in the Red Sea.
It was really special to say you snorkeled in the Red Sea. It wasn't something I ever expected to do. I didn't know it was a snorkeling spot until we got there. You can just swim straight in off the beach. It was really easy and cheap. So having seen the Red Sea and snorkeled there, it was now time to go to the Dead Sea.
Now, along the way is a place called Karak Castle. This is an original Crusader fort. It is quite a long way to get up there, but really worth the drive.
So we spent a lovely afternoon wandering around the ruins of Karak Castle, and it has incredible views over the countryside from there.
From Karak, we headed back down the mountain to the Dead Sea. Now, we had a cunning plan to use one of the local beaches, the Amman beach, where you could go down for a fee, have a swim in the Dead Sea, cover yourself with mud, and then have a shower.
What we discovered when we got there, though, that it was actually more cost effective for us to stay the night in a really fancy hotel get access to the Dead Sea from there and not have to pay that fee to go down to the beach. So that's what we decided to do. Graham loved staying in the 5-star hotel. I also loved staying in the 5-star hotel, so no complaints from me.
It actually demonstrates how inexpensive Jordan is at the moment, that you can stay in a fantastic hotel for a really, really cheap price.
We can't leave this section of the video without actually discussing the experience of swimming or floating in the Dead Sea. So, as most of you probably know, it is absolutely saturated with salt. So you literally bob around like a cork in the Dead Sea. And it's really not a very pleasant experience. I'm glad I can say I've done it, but I didn't enjoy it.
So this is super bizarre. I'm nowhere near standing on the bottom, and I'm bobbing like a cork. And then when you lie on your back, it's crazy. How you going there, mate?
Oh, not very comfortable even. I find it weird.
The other thing that you're able to do is to cover yourself with Dead Sea mud and minerals, and then dry off before going and scrubbing all of the mud off.
And it makes you look so much more young and beautiful and fresh, right? Can't you see the difference? Leave us a comment if you can. If you can't, don't leave us a comment.
So would we say that that's one of those experiences that it's been nice to have, but now that we've checked that off the list?
Yeah, I wouldn't repeat it, no. But it's done. We have swum in the Red Sea and the Dead Sea now. The final phase of our Jordan trip involved going to Jerash via Mount Nebo, and both of these places were a really pleasant surprise for me.
Mount Nebo is the area where Moses saw the promised land before he passed away, and there is a beautiful church at the top of Mount Nebo that is really well taken care of, and all of the archaeological site again has been really well preserved.
Really beautiful mosaics in that church, and they've built this really modern structure around the old ancient part of it. Really, really special place.
Jerash is apparently the second most visited place in Jordan after Petra, and it's easy to understand why. It has an archaeological site there that is the most preserved provincial Roman city in the world, and spending a couple of hours there wandering through the ruins was incredible.
You can get a real feel for what that town was probably like in Roman times. It's so well preserved and it's quite compact. You can see it all in a really short space of time. You can literally imagine what it was like walking down those colonnaded streets in, all those years ago.
And the best part was, it was also included in our Jordan pass.
So it felt like it was free, right? We started and ended our visit to Jordan with a stay in Amman. Now, we really only used this as a transit point, but it is a really beautiful, interesting city, I thought.
It is a very vibrant cosmopolitan hub. Again, the road network is chaotic, but it's still possible to get around.
Just remain calm and be prepared to put the brakes on, not too suddenly.
We ventured up into some old Roman ruins that sit high atop the city itself, and spending a couple of hours wandering through the Temple of Hercules and the adjacent palace was again really great.
We would really encourage you to get to Jordan as soon as possible if it's a place that's on your list to visit.
We were really conscious of the various travel advice and warnings that were out there about travelling to Jordan. And when we looked at the risks associated with being in that area of the world, we thought it was worthwhile taking a chance to go across there, and we were not disappointed. All of the attractions were really well priced. There weren't a lot of people there, and we were able to see some incredible sights pretty much on our own.
It's hard to imagine ever getting an opportunity to see a place like Petra with so few crowds ever again. So for that reason alone, it is worth going as soon as possible. Thanks for watching the video. We hope you enjoyed it. We hope you get to Jordan as soon as possible. Leave us a comment, hit the like button, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel, because now that we don't have a Schengen issue again, we will be back in Italy, actually. Sicily is next, so stay tuned.
Time to fly.
Time to fly. Bye. Done.